Oh, hello, everybody. Hi, hello. How are we tonight? This wonderful, glorious, ever terrifying evening. I am your narrator, your storyteller this evening. My name is Brickk, and I have my lovely, terrifying party here with us. We're gonna go around and say hi to everybody, and they're gonna introduce you to who they're playing and a little bit of what's been going on with their character before we get into it tonight. So we're gonna go counterclockwise. So D, what's up?
Good evening, my lovely children of the dark. My name is D. My pronouns are anything that make you feel most welcome, and I am playing Karma the Spider, whose pronouns are they, its.
Perfect. We'll move it right on over to John.
Hi, I'm John. You can call me John, or John. I'm playing Sephiloth, the Unkind. My pronouns are he, it. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. Thanks for being here.
Heck yeah. And we'll go right on up to Rachel. How you doing?
Hi, I'm Rachel Beauregard. My pronouns are she, they. I'm playing Cursed Skinwalker, the Swarm, and their pronouns are they, many.
And right on over to Trevor.
Hi, I'm Trevor. I'm from Dungeon Hunters, and I am playing Ordain Oathblood, the Fanged Deserter. So, very excited to be here.
Perfect. And as I said before, I am Brickk, your lovely narrator. My pronouns are she, they, and I play all the other people, so their pronouns will come in handy when I play them. But very excited to get back to it for episode 3 of the Horned Queen Chronicles, Kenopsia. And without further ado, we're going to leave you with a trailer for a minute. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so before we get into the thick of it here, last session we traveled to the town of Eski, where we met the leader, Drindala, and she had proposed to all of you that they have been having some issues with the town below them, directly underneath, called Sesden. And how the leader, Rixa, was not very keen on having his people abide by the new laws in the kingdom that they live in. That being said, Drindala asked the party to impart some wisdom onto Rixa and his people, and to travel and see if they could convince him to leave. And in doing so, we are now at a standstill on the dais in the main quarters of Sesden, in the town center, where Rixa and the rest of the party are standing on opposing sides of a raised dais. Rixa just snaps a piece of bamboo, and this rotting corpse, like a skewer, falls off, and he holds it in front of him, and he's glaring at all of you. What do you do?
Good question. How big is this dais you said? I believe you said 20 feet?
It's around like, yeah, like between 15, 20 feet. It's kind of like it's not a perfect circle. It's kind of like a little oblong and sunken in places. But from distance to distance, it's about 20 feet.
And just like table talk real quick.
Yeah.
So the death scroll.
Yes.
All creatures within 30 feet lose a total of 4d10 HP. Does that mean it's a 30-foot radius centered on me, so 15 feet in any direction? Or is it 60 feet total in any, like, you know what I mean?
We're going to roll for this.
I'm asking because maybe you might
know.
No,
because I'm totally I'm open for interpretation.
I think personally
how would Sephiloth... Yeah, like if Sephiloth was to look at this and read it...
30 feet total.
Okay.
With Sephiloth at the center of... Like, it would be too powerful to be like, oh, death way over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I'm cool with this. So Sephiloth spending time reading scrolls, spending time learning the magics of Tveland, how would he discern... He would discern that the spell from where he is standing is 30 feet outwards, or does he have reach?
Like a 30-foot radius. Like it's like
okay.
So 15 feet in all directions from me.
Perfect. Okay.
So
like
it's
this.
It's 30 feet.
Yeah,
total.
from end to end's 30. Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, we can. That can be how you discern that spell, of course.
That's okay. Can I just say real quick, one thing that I might not be so keen on with Mork Borg is because like a super powerful spell like that, like you feel kind of like shitty being like, yeah, this is probably what it would be. You know what I mean? Anyway.
Fair. Very fair. But yeah, no. So Rixa standing there, his 3 compatriots are on either side of him. He is looking at you all menacingly in a defensive stance, and he's just eyeing each of one of you to see what the move is here. He's already laid out. He wants peace. He wants to talk.
Does he look me in the eyes?
He looks each of you in your eyes, in like he'll move from each one of you and stand there and look at each one of you in your eyes before moving to the next to see if anybody does anything.
As soon as he passes my eyes, I'm gonna go ahead and cast Costco's Consuming Glare.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so I rolled a d4. That's 4 creatures lose. And it's a d8. 4 creatures lose 5 hits each.
Okay.
As I'm standing there, and he, like, as soon as he looks at me, I want it to be like this, like, tunnel vision-esque, like, essence of darkness that kind of crowds the outer edges of his vision, as, like, I'm almost standing directly in front of him, like, hands on his face, this uncomfortable, like, closeness, as I'm glaring deep into his soul through his eyes.
All right.
But it's like a snap later, and I'm suddenly back way far away.
Yeah, no, I love this. Okay, so in these moments, as this spell takes hold on each single one of them, and you make this like divine in this nightmarish gaze upon each and every one of them, they are all affected, and you see their eyes kind of swell into these blackened pupils for a second, almost bulging out of their heads. What weird eye sockets these creatures do have before, when your spell ends and you come back to, you see that their eyes kind of sink back into their being and kind of re-cloud over that murky green white that they had been before. But you do see that they all look like their facial expressions, though they're not human, you can see that wigged them the hell out. Like, they were not prepared for something like that. But with it, I'm gonna have everyone roll initiative. So the way that we roll initiative in Mork Borg, Since Sephiloth, you were the first person to make the move, I'm gonna have you roll for initiative. So just roll me a d6 if you could. So in Mork Borg, you roll a d6. 1 to 3, the enemies are gonna go first. 4 to 6, our PCs are gonna go first. And then if you want to, you can roll individual initiative, but I like doing cinematic. So everybody's just gonna get a turn, and then everybody else on the other side will get a turn.
2.
2? All right, so the enemies are gonna go first, which is fair. So you kind of hit them with all of this, this psychic, like terror energy through this gaze, and Rixa is gonna be the very first person to kind of come break the fray and take a swipe directly at you, Sephiloth. So I'm going to need you to roll agility. Also, for those at home, if you don't know how combat runs in Mork Borg, the players roll for everything. So you as a GM don't have to roll for anything. They're testing against their own agility. So they're gonna roll agility.
18.
18, perfect. So he comes in with a really quick and wide swipe with that spear, and you, sensing his terror, sense that trepidation, and you just simply step back, almost in like a dominating way. You just take that present step back, and he swipes wide of you. And then behind him, all the way to the left, so we're gonna go left, center, and right to describe the other 3 that are with him. The leftmost is gonna go next, and he's gonna come swipe. Who would be the closest to the ends of this lineup? Who would be on either end?
I would say I was on the far right end when I had stepped forward, so I'll probably be within the right side.
Perfect.
Or left side, whichever side you want to put me on, but I was on the end.
Okay, where are the positions of Karma and the Swarm?
I would say that Karma is certainly in the middle of everyone, as they were trying to give off very much a like, I am beseeching you, small creature, so
Okay.
I would have been flanked by everybody.
Okay, so Karma's kind of in the back. Ordain, I'm gonna have you be, like, if you're facing everyone, I'm gonna have you be on the left side. Where would the Swarm be?
Then probably on the other end, like being all hunched over and creepy, probably.
Cool. Perfect. All right, so then in that same sort of way, the leftist most to you would be Ordain. So Ordain, could you roll me an agility test, please?
Absolutely, I can. That's going to be something I'm very good at with a +0. That is a 3.
With a 3, they are going to come and hit you for 3 points of damage. So this particular Kexian is going to come out with their spear, and instead of kind of swiping it wide like their leader did, he's going to just come and kind of Spartan thrust it right into you and kind of jab towards your side, and he gets you really quickly between your plates of armor and pulls it back and goes right back into a defensive stance, as his buddy all the way to the right is going to come in the same sort of vein towards the Swarm. So the Swarm, could you please roll me agility?
Sorry, because this is only our second time doing combat. We are rolling
Yes.
d20s, right?
Yes, D20,
Okay.
you're gonna add your agility modifier. You're trying to be at a DR of 12. That's the baseline for all the combat stats.
So when he stabs in, how much damage does he do?
3 points of damage.
3. I'm going to roll my D4 for my medium armor.
Oh, perfect. Yes, if you are wearing armor, please let me know.
So I'll take 3 points of damage.
Okay.
So that would be 23.
Oh yeah, perfect. No, you are good. You are good as gold, as he tries to swipe in the same vein as Rixa, almost trying to like mimic his movements. Comes in and you definitely kind of go right under it. In your crawling stature, you just kind of swiftly move out of the way and slink back up, as the last remaining member is going to come in and try to swipe once again towards Sephiloth, because Karma's a little far back. Karma's a little bit step behind, so can't quite reach him, so they're going to come once again for Sephiloth.
13.
Yeah, 13. So you, once again, you are just kind of moving side to side very stoically in your way, as these creatures are coming by and trying to stab and jab at you with their spears. So that turn comes back to us now. Who would like to make the first move?
I'm going to be pulling out my 4 wizard teeth from my small pouch, as he stabs into me, and I will look up and go, "So this is what I was looking forward to." And I will drop the teeth, rolling my d4. If any of them are 6s, I get max damage on that many attacks. I only got 1 6 out of my 4d6, so one attack will be at max damage. So I do that before battle. And if you want to say that that is a turn, I'm totally cool with that.
I will... Yeah, I'll say, like, you casting and trying to do that magic, since you're not proficient in it, it does take you a little bit of moment to kind of discern what the teeth are saying in those in this small amount of time that you have. So we will kind of move as you're casting your teeth. We'll go to whoever would like to be next in this kind of turn.
And also, it's not as much a power as it is a feature, so I'm just dropping them. And if they stick in the ground, so one tooth just sticks into the ground.
Then I'll let you have an action if that's like a feature. I didn't know if that was an action or a feature. So yeah, as you kind of like drop them, I'll let you discern what they are and then look up and make an attack.
One tooth is stuck in the ground, and the one who attacked me, I'll just go, "All right, mate, it's you." And I'm going to swing with my hammer. So
perfect.
I'm an attack. Perfect. So I am beating 12. That's going to be an 18. And that's
absolutely.
6 points of damage, as that is my max damage.
Perfect. And that was to the one that hit you, correct?
Correct.
That was 6 points of damage. Perfect. All right. You see, like, how do you cut into him? What are you trying? How much, like, where on the body are you trying to make this damage on this?
So it's just my warhammer, so I will try and find his center mass and just wail right into him, trying to break ribs to crack up and in if there are any in this form.
Yeah, so you see as you kind of crack through the mid-center of this creature that you do hear some breaking of bone or of cartilage or some other substance. You have no idea, but you do hear some cracking and some splitting as all of a sudden this black and green ichor starts to spew from their body, and some of it splatters on you. It's not poisonous in any way, but it does smell really fucking bad. So you are now covered in sort of this like ichor rot goo as he kind of looks down, and he immediately puts his hand to his gut to try to close it as his hand still sits on his spear, and he looks at you and his gaze just deepens. And we'll move to whoever would like to take the next spot.
I'll draw my sword as I dodge the attack. So it's like in a big leather like sling across my back and just pull it out, and I'll just take a wild, wide swing at the one that just tried to attack me. 19.
Yeah, that'll definitely hit.
So that will be 4 damage.
All right, 4 damage. Perfect. Alrighty. And then just so that we're making sure we're rolling the right things, if you're using melee, it's strength. If you're using ranged, it's presence. I know we've been doing a lot of melee, but just in case anybody's got ranged, it's going to be a presence check. All right, cool. So as you come and slide and cut into this one as well, you also start to see some of that ichor ooze out of them, and they once again kind of like look at you and look at the ichor that's being spilt. And this one specifically like kind of looks over to Rixa to see what their play is and what their mindset is. And as you lock eyes with this creature in this moment, like, you know that they have some sort of fear of you.
As they should.
And we're gonna move it on over. Karma or Sephiloth?
Karma has a very easy turn, so Karma is just going to sort of interlace the fingers on all 4 of their arms and say, "He really has been excited to get to all of this. A shame. I was looking forward to the pleasure of denying him violence, and yet here we are." I'd like to use my action to just like be a cock. I don't know if that's like an action. I want to just like talk shit from like the rafters.
Yeah. Give me a presence check to see how well you can taunt the other team.
I would like to spend my action being a nuisance.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm here for that. I'm here for that. Also,
so with
don't
a score,
forget, everybody, you have omens that you can use at any point.
With a score of 17, that's a +3 modifier, right?
Yes.
It's 22.
All right,
Did
perfect.
we bump
Yeah.
up all of our stuff by 1?
No. When you originally rolled, some people just rolled
yeah.
really, really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
So yeah, you definitely with a 22. Wait, you said a 21 or a 22?
22.
22. Yeah, so with a 22, you can taunt the absolute shit out of them. What do you say? What are you trying to do?
I just want to say, I will give a prize to anyone who can actually best this one in combat, and I want to like essentially direct people to oh, your name's escaping me. I want to call you John so bad, but that is not your name.
Sephiloth.
So, yes. To
John!
Sephiloth. Exactly right.
So intimidating.
Yeah. And
Alright.
if you can beat this one, you might have a fragment of a chance beating the actual fighter.
All right. Okay, cool. You know what I'm going to use that as? I'm really cool, everybody. I'm going to give Sephiloth advantage on their next attack from the wise and courageous words of Karma. So I'm going to use that as a little bardic inspiration and give you advantage because of what Karma's doing.
Dick.
Karma's being a dick for you, and it's paying off real well. Cool. Do you want to do anything else?
No, I'll just rest on my laurels with a shit-eating grin.
Cool. All right, cool. And then we'll bring it
Not
over
that
to
I ever-
Sephiloth.
So, presence plus a d4 times per day means I can use that power that many times per day, whatever I rolled?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to use my second of 4 initiate of the Invisible College.
Okay.
Was that what I chose?
I think that is what you chose.
That's the
Sounds
scrolls,
familiar.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to just kind of reach my grotesquely long arm into the air and pluck 2 scrolls from the air.
Mm-hmm. Do you get to pick these ones, or these ones that...
These are all rolls as far as we had deemed.
Yeah. So if you're gonna pick 2 scrolls, give me 2 d10 rolls. 2 separate d10 rolls.
Okay, for the first one,
Okay.
it is a 1.
Okay. And for the second?
For the second, a 7.
Okay. So you apparate, basically. Your first one is Palms Open the Southern Gate. And your second one is False Dawn, Knight's Chariot.
Sick name for a scroll, by the way.
Yeah, those are so dope. So, as you kind of take this moment and close your eyes and use this presence, this arcane will that you innately have, you look up and a beacon of this, like, it's not bright light, but it's not light. It's just dark. It's this dark essence that kind of emanates in the air around you, and as you lift up, almost like you said, picking apples off of a tree, you kind of just pluck both of these scrolls and pull them down from this like void that you have created above you, and you now are in you have obtained 2 of these scrolls.
I just kind of look at them,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'd like to look to what was his name? Roscoe?
No. Rixa.
Rixa. I look to Rixa, and I just tuck these scrolls into my sleeve. Would you consider that a turn, or would you?
Is that an ability for your class, or is that?
It is my power.
Okay.
That's what it says. It's in my power section.
So if it's powers or scroll, you have to pass presence checks for it to even happen.
Yes. So roll me a quick presence check.
That's a 19 plus 1.
Yep. Yeah, you're good. You're fine. You're fine. So you pick these scrolls like apples, and I will say that will be your turn just for summoning the void and picking out 2 more powers.
Yeah, I just kind of tuck the scrolls into my sleeve and just stare into Rixa's eyes.
Cool. Perfect. And with that, he is going to continue as we shift back in combat order. He's going to take that as a huge threat and once again come swiping at you with that spear. So if you could make an agility test for me.
(14 + 1).
Perfect, yeah. So once again, he's swinging wildly at this point. He does not have any, like, perfected skill. He is not a fighter, as he has stated before, but he will fight for what he loves and what he wants to defend. Unfortunately, they are not laying purchase with you, Sephiloth. Your aura is too great. You are a presence unknown to him and unwanted by him. And you definitely, once again, move out of the way of this spear attack, as the one who's in combat with Ordain is going to stay in combat with Ordain and come swiping in one more time.
Cool. Agility check. Now, it's going to be a 14 that I have to beat, by the way, because I have my armor, so it adds +2 of the difficulty to dodge. That is shit. As a crit fumble, which means my armor class is reduced to 1d2 instead of 1d4. Yes. That was the worst thing that ever could happen to me. I am very sad.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, explain as you crit fumble, as you like, what happens to make your armor now what happened to your armor to make it fall apart in these moments?
I would say around the, like, clasp of it, he stabs in and it completely unhinges, so it's flopping around, so it has more open space. But Ordain's not really paying attention much to it, and I will take the damage and reduce it by 1d2.
Perfect. So roll that coin for me. It will be 5 damage.
I take 4 damage.
Perfect. Hey, 4 damage is still 4 damage. Knock that one off. All right, so he comes and he sees this moment where you have left a weakness and jabs in. And not only is he splinting your armor and kind of making it flop in front of you on your chest now, he pulls back, and as he pulls back, he cuts with the tip of his spear and kind of jams you all across the ribs up to your chest and kind of gives you this slash across your chest.
Ah, fuck!
And once again, spins the spear and goes into defensive stance as he looks over to his counterpart that's in correlation with the swarm. Once again, the swarm. Make that agility for me.
Ooh.
Yeah, and if you are wearing armor, be wary if that DC changes.
Right, so it's supposed to be, it would be 12 before my DC?
Yeah, yes. Before your armor. If you have any armor, that changes your...
You have armor, so my armor is +2.
Yes, so you'll have to beat a 14.
14.
Yep.
Fuck. I rolled 12.
All right. So as yours comes in the same vein, shit. Make sure that you're rolling. It's 4 damage. So if you have like a D2 or something that you roll for your armor, make sure you're rolling that to negate it.
It's a D4, I think, on mine. Yeah, D4.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we both have medium armor.
2.
Okay, so you're going to negate that 4 down to 2. So as they come in, once again, trying to catch you off guard, just like his compatriot caught Ordain off guard, he comes in, instead of with that swiping motion, he's going to come in with the stabbing motion and go right in between your legs and kind of cut your thigh area so that you're a little less adept and a little less slinky for them. So they jab right in and do slash across your thigh, creating 2 points of damage for you.
Ooh, and
then moving from them, we come around to that last one, who is actually going to, now that there has been some shifting and moving going around with that threat that Karma has made, is going to barge in between where Sephiloth and Ordain are in combat and come straight for you, Karma. Karma, can you make me an agility test?
I certainly can.
You and your sleeky, spidery body.
That is a 18.
Perfect, yeah. So with that spider-like quickness, they come in and try to give you an upheaval, almost like to skewer you from the belly and up, and you quickly spider-like climb and skitter out of their direction. And I imagine almost Karma like giggling at them just attempting even to try and hit them.
Yes, that is correct. It's a very, very happy chuckle. Oh, we have someone who thinks they can jump to the head of the line.
Perfect.
I'd like to take this moment to roll for my randomly chosen power.
Yes.
Because I choose my power randomly.
Yes. I was gonna say, and it comes back to us in the initiative as well, so I'll have this jump start your turn if you would like.
Coolio.
Perfect.
Okay. Interesting. So run me through how powers work again. I gotta roll presence first to see if it works.
Yes, you have to roll me a presence check. If it beats the presence DC, you can do whatever the magic or whatever have you that you are looking for, but you have to beat that initial presence check.
That is a 15. I don't know what the DC is.
It's 12. Baseline is always 12 unless
Gotcha, yes,
I fuck with it for some whatever reason, but it's always gonna be 12.
For sure. So, I am going to dodge out of the way of this creature. My two upper arms are just going to grab the wall and pull me backwards. And I will take one of my smaller hands and say, "Oh, you disgusting little creature. How dare you deign to touch me?" And I'm going to use the palms open the southern gate and shoot a ball of fire at this fuckhead.
All right. Okay. Okay, so palms open the southern gate. A ball of fire hits D2 creatures, dealing D8 damage per creature. Roll me that damage.
All right.
Did you roll for one creature? Did you get a D1 or D2?
So I did just roll, and I did get a 2. So
perfect. So pick another creature you'd like to hit.
I would like to pick someone, and I need to stress this to you, Ray.
Okay.
Someone who has done nothing. Like, literally just a bystander gets immolated for no reason.
Okay. Roll me the damage, and I'll let you know what happens.
Awesome. So the person in front of me takes 5.
Perfect.
And the random person takes 6.
Perfect. Okay, so you see in this brief moment, as everybody's kind of reset before the next attacks have come out, you see this interaction with Karma as they reactively call this spell into being and push out these fireballs, these buling little motes of fire, one like barreling into the chest of the Kexium before you, and the other going wide, almost like it was trying to go to the one that Ordain was in context with, but shoots wide past that and hits one of the innocent bystanders that is just kind of like rousing and rooting and hollering for their leader. And you see, because you are on a dais, it shooting outward goes right through the cheekbone of one of these creatures and sears it, creating this black ichor spray to fly behind, coating the people behind them, the creatures behind them, as they just kind of grab onto their face, and you see them like fall for a moment, and others rush over to pick them up and carry them outward. And you see a couple other people get they get really kind of rowdy, and in this moment close in even further to create more or less of a gap and more of a presence to holler on and root for their people. All right.
Remember, every blood stain is on your hands, fool.
Right. And as we move from Karma, who would we like to go to next in this initiative round? Swarm, Sephiloth?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
So the guy who just cut me, is he in front of me or behind me?
He is in front of you.
Okay. Very, very enraged that I've been wounded and that he's getting so fucking close to me. So I'll just like take another like wild swing with my sword. Okay. 12.
Yeah, meet it, beat it.
Sick.
So roll me that damage.
Also, Brickk, I was kicked, so you might have to add me back in on.
I got you already.
No, sorry. So sorry.
Nah, you're good. You're good.
So just like wild-eyed and just like hissing, she's letting the sword do most of the damage. Ooh, that coughs. That will be 4 damage again.
Yeah. You see as you kind of lay into this being that once again, once you kind of lay in and do your damage and pull back slightly, that you see like they have gone from this like perpetually motivated stance to now like one of fear and one of panic almost, as like his stature gets a little lower and a little bit more lethargic, and it's now looking wounded. It's now looking really scared and hurt. And we move to Ordain Sephiloth.
I would like to... can I bum rush Rixa?
Yeah.
I'd like to bum rush Rixa and wrap my gangly arms around his body.
Okay.
And then try to... I don't want to like tackle him, but I want to move him back. I want to separate us from the group.
Okay. Make a ranged attack, so that'll be presence, to see if you can kind of wrap your arms around and like football push him.
18 flat.
Oh yeah. So you, in these moments, you immediately go from kind of your stoic stance and just swaying back and forth to avoid these hits to now this feral energy as you swing your arms wide open and go to bum rush Rixa, wrapping your gangly arms around him in football, tumbling him over. And in these moments, I will say he does go prone because he's not prepared for that whatsoever. And the spear kind of like flops out of his hand for a small moment, and you are on the ground with him prone and your arms wrapped around him. You have pushed him, and the one that's in battle with the swarm, I'll say, gets kind of pushed back in the fray as well. And so there's now about a 5-foot distance between the swarm and the creature that was in fight with her. And then you have moved him 5 feet back. So he's about 10 feet away from everybody now. And we'll move to Ordain.
I would say also,
yeah.
After I did that, I would just get up and move to his other side. So like,
okay, so you want to jump sides?
Yeah. So like now
okay.
I'm facing the entire group from what was their original side.
Cool. So yeah, I'll say as you kind of like barrel hug him and fall over, you roll, and as you roll, you unravel your arms and kind of do the barrel roll to stand up on the other side of him, while he's still kind of laying on the ground, a little discombobulated and taking the brunt of that. So he's still knocked prone. His spear is like, I'll say like 2 or 3 feet away from him. It just got knocked out of his hands. And you are now stood up on the other side of him. Ordain, what would you like to do?
I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm pulling that hammer back, and I'm crushing the side of his skull, right by his temple.
Yeah?
Right, that's going to be strength. It's going to be an 8.
8 unfortunately will not do it. So as you are a little bit like in the rage, in the rush of things, you kind of bring your hammer a little too wide. He sees that momentum and just simply ducks out of the way as you come full circle and bring it back to its standpoint. He just kind of looks at you and shrugs and twirls the spear in his hand for a short moment before getting ready once again. And he's going to take that action as we switch back sides and come straight for you once again, Ordain.
I also have to write in, when I lost that nat 1 on my agility, I take double damage. I took 5. I should have taken 10.
Okay.
So, not looking great.
Okay.
So I'm now doing that agility check?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I no longer under the +2 difficulty because it reduced my armor.
Yep.
That's a 19.
Yeah, 19 absolutely does it. So as he comes and tries to like be a little cocky in his own right and shrug at you and do the quick spin of his spear, he comes in with it overhead to come and slash down towards you. But you, in that moment, same way that he saw where you were going, you see where he's going and quickly duck out of the way as he flies in and actually like stumbles a tiny bit, but catches his footing and he turns back to you really quickly. But the tables are turned and he is slowly moving you in the same way that Sephiloth is on the other side. He's trying to gate you to turn around as well. So he's making an encroaching kind of crescent moon in your space. And we'll move, as he sees this, we'll move to Rixa. Rixa, who was very much interested in Sephiloth, is going to see what Karma did to his other compatriot, and he's going to cross the distance, that 10 feet, and reach and try to swipe at you, Karma.
Goodness, this mask sometimes. That is a 13.
Yeah, that just hits it. So as he comes in a little bit too quickly, but Karma, you're quicker than him, and you recognized exactly what movements he's doing. You all have been battle ready and prepared, and you quickly, once again, with your spider-like quickness and deftness, skitter out of the way enough for him. But he too is trying to encircle all of you so that we all stay on opposite sides. So he's trying to make that crescent moon shape around you too, slowly but surely. We'll move to the one that's in between Ordain and Karma now, to the one that's kind of getting up from the fire blast and is doing pretty okay, but he's patting out a little bit of the fires because some of him is caught. He'll get up from his prone state and he's gonna go and try to attack you, Karma, once again, because you had tried to hit him with that fireball. So he's gonna come and defend Rixa and try to stab you over his shoulder.
There it is. That one is a 9.
Okay. So
I do have medium armor.
Okay, so roll for your deduction. It's 3 points of damage without your deduction.
I rolled 4.
Okay, perfect. So you negate the entirety of that damage. What does that look like for Karma when she kind of they take a blow like that?
So that depends. Will we have a turn after this?
Yeah, they're in the middle of their turn and then it comes back to you. So
then for the first swipe that misses, I want to dance out of the way like I'm waltzing with one of the corpses from the village. But of course I can't grab Rix's hands. And then a partner volunteers themselves and they come up and they swing at me and I just catch the wrist and the 2 smaller hands will grab the midsection. And I'd like to use my power again if I can pass the presence roll. That is a 13, so that does pass.
Perfect.
And then let's see if I can hit 2 people. I picked the wrong dice for a game that I wear a mask. So I only hit 1 person, so the 2 smaller hands clasp around this person's waist.
Okay.
And does 8 points of fire damage to them.
Oh yeah, so tell me, as you're waltzing with this Kexian, how do you absolutely obliterate them with fire?
I think that I just, as I'm like grabbing them around the midsection, my hands just turn red and the pincer-like incisors just clip through the midsection. And I take the top half with me to continue dancing.
I love it, yeah. The searing energy goes right through and the bottom portion of this Kexian just kind of slops off as Karma is still holding the top half and waltzing from side to side with this now dead Kexian. We're gonna circle back to the last one who's still in combat with the swarm. So the swarm, give me 1 more agility as you are in hand-to-hand with this specific creature.
Ooh, not great. That is an 8.
All right, so with an 8, make sure you're rolling for your damage negation, but that's 3 without it.
4.
Perfect, so you negate that as well. So as they come in and kind of scathe you with this spear, what does it look like from the swarm? How do they take that?
It would probably be she they take it along the side of the ribs, and as the blade cuts through the flesh, like the blood is like extra thick and like black, and it just kind of oozes out instead of like being very wet. It's very viscous, and they just look in the face and they're just like, just very animalistic, just no words, just feeling the pain makes them feel alive.
Perfect. So yeah, as we kind of come back, Karma has already done their turn with killing that one and now waltzing with their body. So we're gonna come to the rest of the group. What would you like to do in response to that round?
I'm about 15 feet away.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. You rolled and you're kind of like almost on top of him. He's barely 5 feet away from you on the ground.
I want to like very quickly impose myself over him, and like from my sleeve I want to pull a scroll, and I want to just I take my hand with the scroll in it, and I just want to mash it into his face, and I'm gonna go ahead and use my death scroll that I got from Initiate of the Invisible College.
Sure. Roll me a presence check first.
16.
Yeah, that definitely uses it. So read the death scroll.
All creatures within 30 feet, which we determined 15 feet from my position, lose a total of 4d10 HP.
Okay. So for the sake of the spell as well, I'm not going to be a mean DM and say your party members also have to roll because everybody's within the 15 feet. So I'll say, since you are the college that you are not using this spell untrained and unlearned. You do know how to direct this spell's energy towards people you want it to affect. So roll me that 4d10.
28.
28? All right, perfect. So how many creatures? It's 4. All creatures. Okay.
All creatures
so
within 30 feet.
Tell me how this spell eradicates the rest of these people on the dais.
So I kind of mash it into his face, and like in a very unkempt way, like where I've been very stoic and standing very straight and kind of swaying. I've suddenly got this kind of feral like drool from my mouth, teeth wide. You can see my gums as I'm rubbing this scroll directly onto the nose of Rixa. And as I do that, once the spell casts, my eyes already bloodshot. I would say like one of my eyes has like a burst blood vessel. I would want to take damage from casting it because I feel like it's such an immense spell.
Roll a d6 for me.
A d6, okay. That's 5 hit points.
Be careful, it begins to stack, my liege. I am hurting.
So 5 hit points. Not does a blood vessel just pop, but like it bleeds from my eye as it's filled with blood. And from there, it's almost this just like dust, almost to the naked eye, kind of rolls along the ground out from this point. And as it does, it essentially just looks like they're slowly drying out, and then very quickly the skin becomes like cracked in this like broken dry earth manner as my hand just kind of falls through the skull of Rixa. And in the same way, that dust kind of trails out and almost grabs onto the feet of the others and climbs its way up their bodies. So like this pain comes from the point it touches up their body as they're realizing something's happening.
Yeah, and I'll say with that too, because it is extending over the edges of the dais, that rippling smoky energy is starting to come off and affecting the few of the people who have pushed their way to the dais' edges to root on their people are now starting to get affected by this spell as well. And you do see a couple of these people drop dead as their members are scrambling to try and pick them up. And this energy, as we kind of quell from being in a place of high combat, we come back to the subtle quietness that was once before, and instead of immediate silence, it is immediately deafening roars and screams and noises from these creatures of pain and panic as they're picking up their loved ones and carrying them through corners, through crevices. I need everyone to make me a presence check.
Can I potentially give us advantage by doing something?
Yeah.
I would like to stand up with like the remnants of their leader still on my hand, and I want to pull my other death scroll from my sleeve and hold it in the air for everyone to see as we kind of turn to see this crowd enraged, sad, like they might not be of the same mind to not come fight us all at once, and I'm trying to just give them a reason not to.
Yeah, everybody roll with advantage.
Okay. My first one was a 6. So here we go.
16
Ordain,
and a 4.
Rolling bad.
16.
That
17.
is going to be a 6.
All right.
Natural 20 for Karma.
Perfect.
Of
Love
course.
it, love it, love it. So everybody except Ordain. Ordain, you're kind of like still in this rage of experiencing all of this and kind of the, not the confusion, but just the enamor of it all for you. You love battle, you love war, you love blood, and being in this moment, all of them eradicated at your feet. It is a bit overwhelming in the best way possible for you. So you're not really paying attention to where everyone else is running. The swarm and Sephiloth, you see them running through corners and crevices. You see some of them are climbing into like some sort of cacophony of webbing, not traditional webbing like you would think, Karma, but just these like rot brambles that have just been kind of thatched together. And specifically, Karma, you see that a lot of their holes and hovels that they're hiding in, you would not have recognized before unless you saw somebody go into these openings. You see these massive Kexian bodies slither and slime and compress themselves into these cracks and corners that they're kind of climbing into to flee. And in these moments, as we are subsiding from the chaos, what does everyone do?
The swarm will, seeing the damage to Ordain's armor and his kind of inability to get out of battle mode, kind of like sheathe their sword and will run over and just try and like, without touching him, like just try and like make eye contact and let him know that like, we're done.
You see Ordain's kind of looking everywhere, and as you get close, he'll just pull the hammer back and almost lunge at you and go, "Oh, right. Done.
For now."
And he'll look over and see Sephiloth and go, "Why'd you let him hit me so many fucking times?"
And I think at this point, Sephiloth would like Sephiloth very quickly just turns his head to you, and it's this like river of blood from one eye as he's like holding this death scroll in the air, and eyes wide, you can see the whites around both of his eyes. "I'm sorry, my liege.
Apology accepted.
Better next time."
That is all accepted.
And then I kind of want to move over to like, is there like a wall in this area that's like untouched? Like just like a kind of a bigger wall.
Yeah. So like if you go down from the dais where you're all at, the dais goes up about 10 feet. And so you're like 10 feet risen above everybody. If you go back down the dais, it's like a whole half moon circle of wall before it's like another big patch of that bramble where you saw a lot of people crawling into, like a half room almost deal. But yeah, there's a big wall that you can find.
I want to move to that wall
Okay.
And I unsheathe my sword just enough to slice the palm of my hand. And I would like to, in the blood of one of the reclamation, I want to very shoddily scrape the blood from my hand into the shape of our symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
And then,
that is exactly what I was about to do.
so sick.
So instead, this place is grown with a lot of vegetation, correct?
Very much correct, yes.
Is there any like type of symbolism or anything that I see around the room that seem to have any type of reverence to it, really?
Give me a perception check. No, give me presence
Kimberly?
check.
Oh, presence.
He came to hang out with you guys.
Give me.
You forgot your lunch.
That's a 15.
A 15?
Yeah.
Yeah. You see, close to where Sephiloth is where like the stairs were to go up, that giant kind of like stair ramp that you came to come down, and those are the walls that are kind of that creating that half moon before it goes to straight vegetation. You see along the bottom etchings of both of those walls and like the bottom stairs, this almost like hieroglyphs, but a lot of glyph work from what you can ascertain, because you have worked with the seer, you have seen a lot of ancient iconography. It is a telling of a story. The story, you're not quite sure what it is, but it is an ancient language. If you took maybe another hour sitting and trying to read through it and discerning from what your knowledge is, you can maybe ascertain what the story is, but you do at least ascertain with that it is trying to tell a story in an ancient language.
Okay. Above the board, table conversation.
Yes.
When we say we're playing the bad guys,
Yes.
how bad are the guys we're playing? Is everyone okay if I do something absolutely horrendous?
Yeah, as bad as you all are comfortable making it, this is an evil campaign.
Cool. So I would like to roll for my power. Let's do that first to see if I can activate my thing. Mm-hmm. That's 1,000,000, yeah. Karma would like to speak at just full-throated, as loud as they can, and say, "There seems to have been a misconception here. You cling with life and limb to these old ways as your heritage, something to look toward. But when we came speaking the joys of the Horned Queen, I did not speak of my queen. I did not speak of that one's queen or that one's queen. You all need to understand," and I will light the hieroglyphs on fire and destroy them. "She is your queen. Hopefully that is more clear now."
Yeah. And with that, the vegetation and the old age, the growth that has obviously kind of come to cling to these walls, you set it ablaze. And the stone will take some time, but there's no one and nothing down here to snuff it out as it starts to creep and crawl into the foundation of this rock and burn away the stories of old that these people have cradled with them for whoever knows how long. But what you have sought out to do, you are accomplishing, and it burns.
Now then, shall we leave? It stinks down here.
Well, while this is all kind of happening, the lighting, Swarm, you would see Ordain kind of goes to walk forward and kind of and is just going to catch my breath, if I can, if that's possible. And I heal up 4 points.
Cool.
So I'm at 16 now.
Cool.
But I am looking very much like a man who has been stabbed and cut and is doing his best to stand up. And I'll just go, nice fire. Okay. Situation handled then, right?
Swarm very much doesn't know what to do.
I will say, to give you a little bit of environment, since you disintegrated basically these bodies, Sephiloth, you'll see that the only remnants that are left that weren't disintegrated were their belongings. So the spears that they were carrying, a couple water skins. You do see there is a pouch left from where the body of Brickk was. And there are a few things scattered about on the outskirts of the dais, out kind of like floating on top of that murky brandished water. Some items from the people that were affected by the runoff of the spell as well. But you are all still standing on the dais. Slowly but surely, the foundation of the rocky walls are burning. The vegetation there slowly burning. But you're all just there.
I would move down from the wall and pick up the pouch.
Okay.
And I open it and look inside.
Yeah. Roll me for you. I need a presence check. You're trying to beat a DC of 10.
That's a 9.
Okay. With a 9, you find a spear, a water skin, some fire steel, and you find a tin, like an Altoids tin, for lack of a better word. But it's bigger. It's a little bit bigger. It's the size of maybe like a corn on the cob. And you open it, and there are dried leaves in there. If you want to make me another presence check, I'll allow you to see if you can ascertain where those leaves came from and what they are.
19.
Yeah? Oh, yeah. So, you kind of pick up one of the leaves and shine it in the very dim, murky light that you have, but the striations on it and the way that it is folding into itself, now being in a dried state, you recognize them as cadaver leaves. And these are leaves specifically grown off of bamboo shoots that are catered to with human remains, that are grown out of human waste or creature waste. And you ascertain from this, especially with the 19, that you can chew on these leaves. A lot of people chew on them. It's part of like cultural heritage and importance. But you do know that when you chew on them, that although they do have some healing properties, they create in certain creatures massive hallucinations. And there's about 10 leaves there.
Sephiloth.
And you also find a scroll. But this scroll you cannot read. It is a letter posed in the same script as the ancient scroll in your possession. The only thing that you can ascertain is at the bottom of the letter, it says in common, "Your loving mother."
Mommy.
But this is, you find that all of these things in the pouch.
Ordain will kind of take his armors off the whole thing, and we'll just drop it on the ground and go, "He's fucking busted. All right then. Will be fun." Now we'll walk over to the group.
Sorry, I'm just writing.
I sent you in our Discord group the picture of the letter that you got as well.
I kind of just fan my hands out with the items. And I look into Ordain's eyes. And I just very quickly put a leaf in my mouth.
Ordain doesn't know what it is and goes, "It's disgusting. You don't even know where it's been."
Roll me a toughness check, Sephiloth.
Well,
And this is how we die.
Will...
This is how we die. Him hallucinating and destroying us all.
I'll pluck the letter.
What'd you get?
13?
13 is just what you needed to surpass. So, as you start to chew these leaves, you knowing full well what they are, kind of creates this mentality for you to ward off what you know is coming. And
Before you go on,
yeah.
I would like to still hallucinate.
Okay,
on,
so you want to willingly fail?
Yeah, not necessarily fail, but I think that when I eat these, if I pass, I still want to hallucinate, but I want it to be more of like, I know I'm hallucinating when I pass, and so I just kind of keep myself very like,
I got you.
Good trip versus bad trip. Yeah,
good trip versus bad trip. So you're having a great trip. Okay. So I'll say if you're all kind of feigning attention towards what's happening, you see him kind of quickly eat this leaf. It looks like a traditional tobacco leaf, but it's a little bit shorter, and it does curl in the same way, but the actual color of the leaf itself is more of a muted purple versus like a muted green of a healthy leaf. So when you chew on this leaf, it's very crunchy. It's very uncomfortable in your mouth. It dries out your mouth immediately. But as soon as it starts to take hold and you swallow a bits of it, you start to feel from your feet to your head first that fuzzy sensation, that warming, like home caressing. But all of a sudden it turns very cold and real, and you're very aware. And in this awareness, what is Sephiloth thinking of as he chews this leaf?
I feel like in succession, all 954 days spent in the dungeon with Ordain is like repeatedly passing through my mind, as it's like it became like pretty much the only thing that I knew for a long time, and has almost replaced a lot of good memories I had held previous to it.
All right, and so as you're feeling these things and thinking these emotions in your mind, you're clear. You know what's going on. You know that this is a trip. But every so often, apparating in front of you, you see the figures. These figures pop up from your past. The ones that have helped get you to where you are. Figures that helped you learn of your arcane nature. Who helped you enhance your arcane nature. But then they flicker and they sputter into the guards through your torture. Some of them looking like Ordain, but Ordain through his torture. And you get these flickers of realistic expectation. You see them and you see what they're worth. You see who they are. But something isn't right. There's an air of something is off. But what, you're not quite sure of. You're very aware, and in your moment, you don't lose any sense of your faculties. But these figures that keep popping up, they're trying to tell you something. But you're too aware to figure out what at the moment. To everybody else, it looks like Sephiloth just ate a weird, crackly, big, dried up leaf and is now staring intently through the brick wall that he was just in front of.
While he's tripping, can I like snatch one of the leaves and just like put it in my pocket for later?
Yeah, you snatch one of the leaves. There's now 8 leaves.
He just kind of does this sometimes.
I'd like to take the letter and read it.
So, the letter is in the ancient script. which you do not know how to read, but you know what the script is, if I'm not mistaken. We know what it is, but not that we can read it at the moment. But you do see it is formulated like a letter would be, and it is all in that glyph script, except for your loving mother, which is written in chicken scratch on the bottom.
Interesting. I would ask if I know someone who knows more than me, but that would be counter to who I am as a person.
Or
so,
can Ordain walk up and go, let me take a peek?
Oh, please be my guest.
Not very. I'll look at it for a bit. I'll turn it. Hand it back and go, these fuckers didn't welcome us either. Rude bunch.
You know? Not as wrong as you could be, I suppose. I will tuck the letter and keep it with intent to show it to the proper leader of the city that we installed. Or that her hornedness installed.
Her hornedness.
Her hornness demands.
All right. Shall we make our way? Why are you eating leaves? What is happening?
I very quickly, I just snap to Karma. You can see the whites around the entire iris of my eye as I just kind of nod. Yes.
An answer that I'll accept. I'll take a leaf, because now I'm curious.
I imagine, unless Sephiloth has done anything else, I imagine the tin is just, sitting in his hand like this, open, and he's just got this 1,000-yard stare.
I had fanned these items out in front of me, and I would imagine, I'm standing very, tall, but I haven't moved my arms. It's very, I don't know what to do with my hands.
For sure. I will not imbibe a leaf yet, but I'll take one out of the thing.
Okay, so there's 7 left in the tin. 1 is to the swarm, 1 is to Karma, and Sephiloth has eaten 1.
Fuck it. Ordain's gonna walk up, grab one, put it into his mouth, and go, you owe me teeth, mate.
Alright, make me a toughness roll.
As he's rolling that, that would, I feel like just the
You gotta be kidding me,
so
dude.
just Ordain say, giving what Sephiloth considers a command, Sephiloth would just begin to pull teeth from his mouth until his mental state couldn't bear it.
And I'm chewing the leaf, and I'll go, very good, put them in the pouch, and I will take off my pouch necklace and toss it to Sephiloth. As I chew the leaf and roll a fucking 3. So, yay!
Alright, so yeah, you immediately start nibbling on this leaf, and being human, or a subset of human, you're not privy to all of the natural arcane buffs that some people have been born with in the land of Tveland, and you immediately take purchase with this cadaver leaf. And what is Ordain thinking about when he's eating the leaf?
Ordain, immediately everything around him would probably change. And he would see his mother and the women who raised him at the brothel in Twig.
So I will say both Sephiloth and Ordain take 3 hit points. You gain 3 hit points because they do have some healing properties.
Oh, we gain it. Cool.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, as you start to eat this leaf and you start to think of your mother in the brothel and what it looked like growing up. You instinctively have your mother there. She's at the forefront. She's almost in every vision that you have, but the background changes. The scene changes. The people behind her change. And it flashes from jolly scenes, times where you remember pure joy, and you enjoyed where you grew up, and you enjoyed the time that you spent with your mother. But then it flashes to scenes where things weren't so good, we're so bright, we're so hopeful, and you're stuck in this perpetual loop, almost kind of like one of those old viewfinder toys where you're clicking through scene to scene to scene, and your mother reaches out. She's the only constant in this ever-changing state. She reaches out to touch your cheek. She holds it. It feels warm and inviting.
Mom?
It feels like home. I'm
Mom?
here. Don't fret, my child, I'm here. And for a moment, the hand turns from warm to searing hot, burning your face.
I don't care. I push it on. I don't want to lose it.
And it burns, and it aches, and you feel her bleeding and melting the flesh from your face before it immediately starts to turn cold, like ice, like a glacier. And the melting flesh now begins to freeze and turn black. Her hand now stuck. She turns to you and her eyes widen in fear. My child, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, I'm sorry. And she rips her hand away.
Ah!
And you see her fall to her knees, screaming in pain and agony as the scenes continue to switch and switch.
Don't cry. Don't cry. I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna fix it. Or steal bread. You'll be fine. Mom? 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 And you would all hear me yelling this in a almost higher pitched voice. Mom, it's cold. It's cold. Don't leave me here. Don't you fucking leave me here. Why would you leave me here? And I'd probably be on my knees weeping at this point.
For what feels like hours, eternity for Ordain is merely but minutes to everyone else. You see his body thrashing on the floor as he screams out for his mother. There's nothing wrong with his physical stature. He clings to his face. There's nothing there.
I will take a step over to Ordain and will just lift him off the ground with my two longer hands and say, "Come now, you miserable, miserable child, sin."
In Ordain, you are still trapped in this loop, but you do hear kind of like that echoing, billowing voice from beyond. You hear karma. You hear what they say. You can feel them grab you. It's not your mother. She's still on the floor in front of you weeping, but you feel some hands around you hoisting you to your feet.
When I get to my feet, I will just look at her.
She's still in the same position, crying. She doesn't acknowledge you anymore. It's just that same position. hallucination.
You left me here. And now I'm rotting away. It's your fault. You should have been there for me. You should have been there. And I will allow Karma to pull me.
Can you make another toughness check for me?
Of course I can, of course. That's great. An 8.
Okay. You feel as you're pulled up and away from the immediate position you were in when you ate the leaf, you're still very much in those scenes. You're still very much enveloped in the emotion of what you're feeling right now. But with Karma picking you up and moving you, it does take you a little bit out of that channel, and you're a little bit more self-aware that not quite that this is a hallucination. You can see Karma now and you can hear Karma, but you're still visually in that hallucination.
Then I'll just see Karma and I'll just say one thing. You're right. I'm nothing like the rest of you. Not even close. And then I'll just cry.
Karma will just lead Ordain out when the others are ready to leave.
Sephiloth would, like, lowering his stature below Ordain, like, significantly, would, like, rub his back and say, "Shh. It's okay, sire. It's no more."
Swarm will be following and just be like incredibly unnerved by the emotion of it all.
So are we slowly picking everyone up and moving up the ramp?
Yeah.
So as you all kind of put your pieces back together and lead each other out and up, there is no one in your path. They're all very afraid of you now. And you make your way up these stone stairs, glancing back at the still caught fire on the stone below, the disintegrated bodies of the Kexian people. And a couple of you, a little mentally, maybe worse for wear. It's where we're gonna go take a break!
Yeah.
Woo! Yay for trauma!
Yeah.
Everybody,
Yay.
take this as a great moment to also let you know that we do use a safety system here, and sometimes when things get a little bit too intense for us or you need to stop and take a break. So I feel like this is a good stopping point for everybody. Also, if anything ever gets too much for you while we play this game, please stop and take a break. Turn something else on. Do not put yourself through that. You come first, always. So with that, we're gonna go on a maybe like 5-10 minute break here. Go grab a snack, beverage, get yourself a potty break, and we'll be back here soon. So don't go anywhere, because Gimli will come find you and drag you back. back, everybody. Hello. Were we getting into the deep, dark conversation topic of Twilight and things of the sort not existing without, real tragedies happening in the world? Maybe. But it's interesting. I love green room talk. It's my favorite thing before we play, because now I'm just thinking about, holy shit, what do you mean? Okay. So, welcome back, everybody. Before we left off, we were kind of gathering the party. Everybody was coming back to themselves and allowing themselves to be collected after a pretty tense encounter with the Kexine people and their leader, Rixa. The party has disintegrated their leader and killed off a decent handful of their people and are now walking up the stairs to go to the bottom of the pit where they had crawled down into originally before crawling further into the below of Sestan. And as we are all we're walking. As we're all walking up and kind of go around that corner once again to the pit, the massive rot pit, there is that guard who's still kind of posted up by the ladder. He's definitely leaning on the ladder, more than likely sleeping at this point. But you all kind of walk in and see him standing there.
I'm still rubbing Ordain's back.
Yeah, I'm guessing I'm still kind of out of it, so I probably won't be talking right now.
Yeah, make me another toughness check.
You got it. 14.
Yeah. So with a 14, you're now, as you're walking and moving and Sephiloth has been rubbing your back, he's definitely been pulling you further and further from those visions. It's almost kind of like when you're in a dream and the dream feels extremely real, but you know that your body is about to wake up, so you start to get that floating feeling. And you can still see what's going on, but it's just further and further from that immediate sense of touch. And you're just kind of looming there, right on that tipping edge of coming back fully from the hallucination. But you can see the world around you. You can start to put those pieces together. It's a weird amalgamation of both that hallucinogenic state as well as the current reality of what you're experiencing. You're like kind of having that a little shape-shifting of the two realities. But you're doing okay.
And I'll just put my hand up for Sephiloth to stop rubbing my back.
Yeah, I stop and I'm just looking at the guard like this.
He's properly napping.
Excuse me.
Oh, right. Yep. How's it going? How'd it go?
About as well as I planned for it to.
We lived.
I'm actually surprised you lived. Everybody who's come down here to try and go talk to them ends up never coming back, so it's a whole lot of not talking. I'm seeing a whole lot of whatever else is happening, but you came back, so I'm surprised. Jindala's gonna be mighty proud.
Oh, yay.
He, looks at you and cocks an eyebrow before stepping out of the way of the ladder and kind of giving you a very dramatic flair to, here you are.
Is he being that way? Judgmental?
Yes.
Ordain will grab him by the throat and slam him against the wall. And we'll go, it's not funny anymore, is it, mate?
No, not funny.
Fuck off!
Rightfully
And
so.
I will look over to Karma, just kind of nod and walk up.
Perfect. We're all scaling up.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, he kind of slumps down. He's gasping for air. He's catching his breath. He's adjusting his armaments as you all climb up and scale the ladder back to the world above. And as you are all crawling up and exposing yourself to the world once again, you'll notice that, like, the day has passed. Most of the day has passed. And yes, you're all exposing yourself. The day has passed, and it is now, like, evening. The sun has gone down. There's a chill in the air. The lanterns and the torches around Eski are ablaze. And you see in the distance, close to where, not terribly close, but off in the distance, you do see, like, the house that you know as Drindalla's. There are some lanterns lit inside. Seems to be everybody is awake at this hour.
Walk to the door of Drindalla's house. I just want to, like, I open it, and without stepping inside, I use my hand and arm to push it all the way open and just stand at the doorway.
Yeah, so as you kind of, like, unhinge the doorknob and push it with your long your extremities, you see Drindalla is just sitting at her desk, and as you are opening it, can you give me a presence check real quick? As you have not knocked before opening her door.
12.
12, I'll say that you see her gathering specifically a small pile of paper, maybe 3 or 4 papers, gathers them, immediately puts them in a drawer, and closes it. And as she closes it, she looks up to you and nods. It is very good to see you. Please come in. She looks genuinely surprised.
Yeah. As I, like, step into the room, blood caking the right side of my face from my eye, I would like to, like, I very, like, over-exaggeratedly bow for Ordain to come in, but then very quickly stand and follow him into the room.
He welcomes you all inside. Are you all going in?
Yeah, I'll walk in, and I'll just kind of move to the left of this little chamber, and I'll just kind of be looking around. Ordain feels really... It's very obvious to the party. Ordain had a bit of a vulnerable moment and is feeling very self-conscious at this point, and is just kind of keeping quiet and looking towards Drindalla.
She kind of, like, rights herself. You see some of, like, the fauna that has been growing on her. Some of it looks a little bit more lush today. She looks a little bit more vibrant in her standing. And you see her kind of, like, shuffling through some papers on the desk once again before she pulls one up that is sealed with a black wax seal. And in that same vein, you see kind of, like, in the corner of the room now, this big black carrion bird that is just kind of perched in the corner. And you all very quickly realize that this is a messenger bird from the Horned Queen herself, a very rare breed of bird only seen in your kingdom. Its body is half rotted and decayed, its ribs exposed into black ichor-like wings and a large bill that kind of comes out to a distinct point. It's sitting there, and she holds up this scroll and sets it down in the desk and just kind of in front of all of you, but no specific direction, just sets it in front of you in the desk. Your queen, our queen, sends her regards. She sends you something. I clearly did not open it, but she sent me something as well. I'm hoping it is just as positive as mine. She'll wait for one of you to take it.
Question. Was that a slip of the DM's tongue, or was that a slip of Drindalla's tongue?
Of what?
To say your queen first.
Nope. That was not a DM slip.
Okay. Sephiloth wants to, like, lean in to grab the scroll, and then, like, looking at the rest of the papers on the desk, he just wants to, like, look up into Drindalla's eyes and says, "You're not gonna put the rest of your papers away."
Roll me presence.
You look so fucking
I love it.
creepy right there.
I love this.
Oh.
It's like a juggalo from my
15?
nightmare. Yeah. She kind of looks at you, and in that moment, since you are staring into her eyes, you see her eyes feign a look of concern before they are masked once again. I do believe it was just a slip of my tongue if you are referring to the things I have said. However, the papers I have are all of different shapes, sizes, and creeds in my desk. Do you find offense that I put some in there while you were coming in? I can bring them out if you are that concerned. And she starts to reach
terrible
for
mistake
the drawer.
should you have sent us on a false mission.
A
I
false
wonder
mission.
what the Horned Queen would think. Us killing at your command. Unwarranted.
I mean, if you do consider me somebody that you should be wary of, maybe you should open your scroll and see what your queen has to say.
You mean our queen, right?
Of course. And she looks at you, and since you're close, you do see there is a smirk. Like, she has the tiniest twinge of the corner of her lip as she slides the paper further to your hand.
I open it, but I don't move. I'm like bent from like 3 feet from the desk and just like staring her down as I slowly unroll this scroll underneath me.
Yeah. And so you break the black wax seal and unfurl this note, and you all, in your mind's eye, you're used to this. This is how she communicates when sending something meant for multiple people. And of course, she knows that Ordain himself cannot read. So in your mind's eye, as Sephiloth reads this in either his mind's eye or out loud, you hear, "My trusted reclaimers, 'tis wondrous to hear of your assist with our ideology in Exki. Rixa and their people have been defiant for too long, and I hope to hear of our victory in running them out of this kingdom if they do not wish to accept the facts. Continue onward. When you arrive in Grift, there is a man named Penance who has been noticed by the seer. Find him." And it's stamped with the stamp of the reclamation. What does it say?
It says to mind your bloody business.
Drindala immediately looks towards you. Your business is my business. You do know we both work for the same woman.
It was sealed and you didn't open it for a reason, right?
Was it for you? Not for me. I have one of my own.
So why would we tell you what it says?
By all means.
I'll just look towards the group.
We're tired.
Yes, perhaps we can exchange contents of letters in the morning before we set off.
Of course. By all means, if you do need rest, I assure if the problem is dealt with. The problem is dealt with, yes? Let's get down to brass tacks.
I leave no stone unturned.
As you should not. And you see her open another desk drawer that's opposite the one that she slid those papers into. And you see her pull out 4 tiny sacks and lay them in front of you all. A coin does not do much in most places, but in places where it matters, you will find it most useful. A small boon for accomplishing such a great task.
Swarm will scurry forward and just like snatch one and then move back.
Ordain's gonna walk up and grab his, toss it for a bit, take out 3, hand it to Sephiloth, throw the rest of the coin at the swarm.
I, in the manner as I always have, grab the coin and put it away for Ordain for future use.
Perfect. There's 5 silver in each of them, so Swarm, you can add 7. You got the extra 2. Karma 5, Sephiloth, you get the remaining
8.
You get 8. If you do wish to stay another night in the tavern, do not worry about paying for it. There's no sense in you giving back the money that I just gave to you. Tell the tavern keeper to make sure that I know they're running in the morning.
Yes. Well, good evening.
Good evening.
But like
And
begin to
she'll-
walk out. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
she'll kind of like give you the hand to like get the fuck out, sort of.
Yeah. I'd like to begin to walk out, and then, like at the doorway, I'd like to pause and turn and look to Drindala and say, "Your coin is useless at the tavern, but how many would it take to buy your secrets?"
She'll smirk at you again. My dear, you would be paying very long time, for I have no secrets. You're paying for something that does not exist.
I just kind of and then turn and leave the room. I don't close the door.
Can you give me a presence check then, if you don't close the door?
15.
With a presence check of 15 and you stopping at the threshold to look and ask her that question, you do see the desk, the part of the desk where she put those papers in originally. You hear that side of the desk start to open, but her hands do not move.
Side note. Do I pursue this now or later?
That's up to you. That's what
That is up to you.
You pick up, because you heard it open and close when you first opened the door. You hear that same sort of skittering of open.
I would like to snap my head around and look directly at the desk.
You see there is a hand in that movement. She's not like pushing it closed, like to be very obvious about it, but there is a hand that is resting like on the top of the desk where she would need to push it. Attempt. And we're back. Wonderful. All right. So, Sephiloth, once again, can you describe for us what you're doing? Not quite sure where we left off, so I'm just going to reiterate.
Yes.
Sephiloth said something to Drindala, turned around, and as he was turning around, heard a drawer on her desk slightly open, but did not see her hands move to open it. So he turned around, snapped very quickly, and would you say
I bum rushed into the room and like using my hands, I kind of force myself forward faster.
Mm-hmm.
And if you would like it to be separate rolls, what I'm wanting to do is get to the desk and push her back away from it.
Okay.
And then grab the drawer and rip it from the desk.
Okay. I'll have it be contested toughness rolls. So roll me toughness.
14.
You beat her. She got an 11. So as she tries to stable herself on her desk and trying to grip it, you, with the force and kind of the bum rush momentum, push her back. And in the same breath, with that 14, I'll say that you do rip with your other hand. You rip the drawer open. And as you rip the drawer open, a bunch of papers scatter and go flying. But there is also a very small creature about this big that is shaped like fungus. There's no discernible eyes. There's no discernible arms, ligaments, except for two little kind of stumpy feet. But this creature, as it kind of goes flying out of this drawer and kind of like bounces on the ground for a few moments, stands up and is just kind of like teetering around. Like, it is very unaware of what is going on. I'll say that you can discern that this is probably an adolescent, whatever it is, by the way that it just immediately starts moving. But this little creature is out. All these papers are thrown. Give me one last presence check.
Execute
11.
Order 66.
Okay. Even with 11, the papers that you have strewn, a lot of them that you are seeing, because they're kind of fluttering. It's almost kind of like when you throw a bunch of papers, some of them are still floating in the air as they're coming down in the giant chaos of the moment. You see as some of them are fluttering down and they flutter in front of your face, you're catching glimpses of those glyphs, that ancient language that you have seen so much of now. It's on these papers that she's been hiding in this drawer. And they now litter the floor.
I look to the creature, and then I look up to Drindala. What is it?
She looks very perplexed on what to give you. The truth or some feigned ignorance she's trying to perpetuate. But in that moment, in this instance, she sees and acknowledges that you have bested her and gives you a nod. The things that we are protecting out here, the things that she wants us to destroy, sometimes are not easily done. They must be done in careful measures, with careful calculation. It is one of her thrall. And she, nods towards the creature.
I will not pretend to be privy to what you are speaking on, as I carry out her command swiftly. But I am not an idiot, and understand there are certain things that must be done carefully. You would do best to be honest first, right? As I have no qualms with ending life, Drindala.
Do not wish to be untruthful with you, but I must tell you the things that I've been privy to, being leader of Eski, is something far greater than I think our queen ever could understand.
At that moment, I slam the desk drawer, as hard as I can on the desk, and I would like to lean in closer, grabbing her by the shirt and pulling her in close and say, I would not assume, Drindala, that you insinuate our queen. Our queen. Does not understand.
Maybe in time she could. But the things I have been trying to keep away from here and from her and from this entire kingdom I believe in is because this is a power that I don't think that she can surmise over. And while I do believe in our queen, she is our queen and she's powerful. She's the only one who is on this side. Outside of this kingdom, nobody believes us, nobody will help us, nobody will hear her call. So we root out what we can hear first. You want to know what it is? It is a power that has been here longer than any of us, longer than she, longer than the kings and the kings and the kings before. It is what made this world, what made this land. And I am just supposed to pretend that I can eradicate it just because she wills it. All of my people would die trying to fight whatever the actual fuck this is. I'm trying to make peace. Just like our queen is trying to make peace in hope, reality. If we go to war with this being alone, she might not be our queen any longer.
I feel like any sort of arcane presence from this small creature.
Roll me presence. See if you can ascertain if you feel anything from it.
5.
There's the smallest faint of magical energy that you feel within the room, but you can't ascertain exactly where it's coming from.
I would like to let go of Drindala.
Mm-hmm.
And I stand up and I say, take the night to consider your stance, Drindala. I will ask again in the morning how you feel. And I would like to stamp on the... I would like to stamp my foot down on the small creature.
Yeah. You just see it, there's no roll for this. It is a tiny-ass creature underneath your big-ass foot. So as you crush it, there's just like this puff of like dusty smoke that kind of comes up from it. As it just is simply crushed beneath your boot. It lets out a shriek. But like a bug, it has been squashed.
And I say, look at that. Easier than you thought.
She shakes her head.
I just want to put my boot on the edge of her desk and scrape the remains of this creature on the edge of it. And then I just turn and kind of straighten and like place my hands into my long coat behind my back. I'm like looking towards the door. I say, have a good night. And just like step under the doorway, and I reach my arm back without looking and close the door behind me.
And you do so. Everybody else, are you all still standing outside of the threshold, or have you moved onward?
Oh, fuck no, I'm going to the inn. I need a drink.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, into the end.
Perfect.
I
So-
wasn't there for any of that. As
Cool.
soon as I walked out the threshold, I kept
Same.
walking.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Cool. So we kind of like cut away, slurp out to slurp back into the tavern where, yeah, I've got the best transition word, slurp. We're gonna slurp into the tavern over here.
You bet your ass we are.
The typical tavern keeper who you all met the night prior is there. There are a couple more patrons than usual here this evening. It seems like there is a duo, some fiddlers playing in the corner, some somber music, something just to keep at least some life in here. Liveliness, probably not, but life itself is here. You see your booth has been kind of corralled off, almost velvet rope style, but just like literally a chair has been put in front of the table to let people know not to go there, and it's already set with another couple plates and a perusal of food, some cheese and meats and wine as you all come in.
I'll just go up to the bar. Just set down the 3 silver. Push it forward and go, I want everything that can give me, mate. Now.
Anything. You name it. It's yours.
Hand me that up there. And I just point to one of the bottles.
He hands you 2 of them.
I take one, toss it to Swarm, and I walk to a table, and I don't wait for people to sit down. I just walk to a table, and I just kind of pop the cork, spit, and sit, and begin drinking. My armor ruined and gone, bloodied, eyes wide, and just angry at the world.
Yeah. The table that you had sit at previously, that corner, what did we call it? The Aragorn table?
Yeah.
In the corner is roped off for you, so I imagine you go sit.
Perfect.
There's already food for you. There is already a bottle of wine, but now we have added to the festivities. I love this. Yeah, your table's already in wanting. The cork kind of like spits off and dinks off of somebody's forehead, and he turns around and punches the guy behind him because he thought he threw it at him. And you see, yeah, it's a little bit more lively in the space at this point in time. But Ordain is sitting and sipping. What are Karma and Swarm doing before we have Sephiloth walk in?
I'd like to, just as Ordain makes his moves throughout the tavern, I would like to not look at Swarm, but just say, well, he's in a delightful mood.
He saw something. A lot of something.
But a familiar something, from what I can tell. Interesting.
Do you think maybe I shouldn't take the
Oh no, please do. I'd be very interested to see if the effects are consistent. Sephiloth is already odd enough, so
I might save mine for later.
Take notes. And I'll just go sit down. Karma doesn't drink alcohol or eat food in public, so I'll sit at my full height and just try to intimidate people who, through their drunken haze have to do a double take, like, what the fuck is that? And just sit there, arms crossed. And my hands are interlaced, so one of the small hands is grabbing one of the big hands, and vice versa. So there's just a lattice of limbs in front of me. And I'll just watch Ordain commiserate.
Swarm will actually go up to their room by themselves with their bottle.
And as Swarm kind of skitters up to their room, bottle in hand, we have Sephiloth approaching and opening the door to the tavern at this moment.
Yeah, Sephiloth opens the door and closes it, and then walks to the table and sits and just rests his arms on the table. He conspires against the Queen's words.
I'd be lying if I said I was surprised. The one is a schemer, by definition of the word. She does it cleverly. We will need more.
He is a coward, not a schemer.
Is there a difference? Powerful do not need schemes. Simply extend their will. She will be crushed underfoot, be sure.
It's unfortunate. She is a good leader. For it is not Drindala alone that is a coward. It is this town. They are afraid of a older presence. They cannot exert their will over it, as we do over them.
Then perhaps the new will have to root out the old.
Not so fast. We have fucking orders. Or did you lot forget? Sealed in black wax. If our orders were to kill Drindala, then the Queen would have told us to. We push on the grift. Drindala can be dealt with once we tell the Queen what's going on here. To believe that any magic could go against the one who can change the stars is bullshit. So if the Queen wants her dead, we come back and crush her. Until then, we have a job. And I'll drink.
Your emotional breakdowns generally come with clarity. I think that is the most sound you've spoken to me in the time I've known you.
You know, Spider, I understand that you're something that people want to forget, but you forget. We have past we want to forget too. If you want to spin me up in your web of bullshit, that's fine. Just don't expect me to get stuck.
Karma will leave the table.
Karma leaves, and now it is just Ordain and Sephiloth at the table.
You shouldn't forget it all, sire.
How could I ever forget? It's locked in my brain. I understand some of you have the blessing of not remembering certain things. And that's well and good. Not me, though. I've remembered everything. The last thing I need is anyone prying into my mind. I understand when I make a fool of myself. I'll deal with myself accordingly. Then I'll drink.
I wish I could remember my mother's face. But when I do, I only see yours. And I just want to gently rest my palm on the side of Ordain's, kind of under his ear. And I say, 3 years. All I see is you, sire.
I will put my hand, if Sephiloth will allow me, kind of here and rub the blood on the cheek. At least we have each other. I'm off to bed. Oh, if Karma's upset, I'll apologize in the morning. Rough night. And I will take leave.
I just would like to spend the night sitting at the table and maybe, like, I'm going to give it a roll. Yeah, so it very infrequently kind of drifting in and out of like an almost sleep-like trance, coming to and like, I mean, just exhaustedly staring into nothing.
All right. And
I would
as you... Oh,
sorry.
go right ahead. Yeah.
During the night, like once I've gone to my room, we've taken off our armor as well and tending our wounds a little bit, and like take the leaf and just like set it on a table, and we're just looking at it, trying to decide if it's something we want to risk. And then when we hear Ordain go into his room, and like we wait a little bit until we think he's probably like asleep, and then we'd like to go over and like kind of just open the door and go in and like be like when kids go in to wake their parents and they just like sit right at the edge of the bed, kind of like that. Probably, I'm assuming, having to pick up an empty alcohol bottle and getting it out of the way, and just be like, Ordain.
And I'll just kind of look around, half asleep, and I'll kind of move the covers off. My shirt is off. You see scarred flesh where it has been rend across the chest and back, and scripture just kind of scarred over. Yes.
We don't want to upset you. What did you see?
And I'll just take my tinderbox and kind of light a small, like, lantern or something next to my bed. I saw my mother. That's what I saw.
What is it like to have a mother?
Come here, sit. And I'll kind of get up and kind of sit at the side of the bed.
Swarm will hop up and sit almost like gargoyle pose.
When I was younger and I would get sick, my mom would find thistleberry out in the brush. She'd make a tea. And she'd sing me songs of the great kingdoms. She said we'd get by. Having a mother is... well, it's different for everybody. But mine cared. Mine was caring and loving. And it killed her to love me. Mothers are sacrificial. And sometimes we don't realize what they are until they're gone. Sometimes I wish I never had one.
I must have had one once, right? Even if I can't remember her, I was somebody's baby once.
Ordain, kind of not knowing what to say, will just shake his head and will gently put his arm near the swarm and say, "You all right? I'm sure. I'm sure you had a mother. And I bet she cared a lot for you."
We thought if maybe we ate the leaf, we could see her, but if she never existed, or if she doesn't want to be found, or I don't deserve to see her.
Don't deserve? No. No, you deserve it. But listen when I tell you. It may hurt now. It'll hurt a lot more if you find out she was caring and you've lost. No one should feel that. Maybe it's best you let it be. I just don't want you to feel how I do.
But
look, if you want to take it, I'll watch over you. Just don't bite me.
I'll pull out the leaf and eat it.
And I will stay up and I will put my hammer next to the bed.
Roll me a toughness check.
6.
And with a 6, you absolutely fall under the full effect of this cadaver leaf. Upon eating the leaf, what is the swarm thinking about?
Probably as far back as they can remember this second life into the darkness and the nothingness, and just trying to reach beyond that into some form of warmth.
And as in your mind you try to sift through all of the hurt and the trauma and the fogginess of your memory to cling to that warmth, you find yourself in a vacuum. In one blink, you're in the room with Ordain, in another, you are in a vacuum. Blackness surrounds you. You beg and you plead within yourself to find that spot of warmth. And you blink again, and it's like a light at the end of the tunnel. Excuse me. It's a warm light. You hear some faint flickering of candle, firewood. And you start running, sprinting, bounding on all fours towards this point you believe to be a point of warmth, point of remembrance. Are you focused as you're running on the point ahead of you, or do you look from side to side?
We would only look side to side if we heard something.
So as you're bounding barely through this empty space, the void beyond that point that you're trying so hard to get to cannot come fast enough. It does not seem like it's coming fast enough. And before you hear anything else, you hear a twig snap, and your attention is thrown off into the cavernous of the black surrounding, and all of a sudden you're stopped and you're looking upon a scene. You're watching yourself in a plague cart. Your body is dead, deprived of all light, being pushed with another mound of dead, rotting corpses beneath it. But your hair is different. It's not white. Swarm, what color was your hair in your past life?
It's red.
And in this scene, it's nothing but muted colors, blacks and whites, except for your red hair. It is the most red thing you've ever seen. That red is the only warmth you feel staring upon your lifeless body on the plague cart where it once was. Do you keep running?
Yes.
Or do you keep watching?
Running.
You steer back and once again start bounding through this endless void. As you're running, what's the one thing on your mind right now? One word.
Eyes.
And as you start to now have your mind filled with these other thoughts, these other ideas and feelings, eyes start to pop up in the blackness. Yellow, beady eyes. Ones that when you look at your rat companions, you feel warmth and love and compassion, for they rely on you. You are their caretaker. You are their mother. But these eyes that you see in this void, they are not warm. They are not inviting or kind. They seek to swallow you. And these eyes, as they are looming, start to rise up and gather in front of that point that you have been so hopefully bounding towards. And it is dark. These eyes, in the wake of where you were running to, conglomerate into one massive sphere, outlined by eyes. And before you, popping out of this blackness, it is the Rat King. His ring of yellow, beady eyes. The rats with their tails intertwined, replacing the head of this creature. He stands imposing before you, blocking your entrance to this warm space you so seek. The eyes blink, and all the rats smile at you, moving effortlessly in an unbending circle as the face of this creature gets closer and closer and closer and is but only inches from you. The sphere of spinning rats whispers as it passes each of them. We have you, we have you, we have you. You are ours, you are ours. Be part of the many, As the ring of rats moves, the face of this creature now imposing on top of you. And in one fell swoop, crushes down and encapsulates you whole. Can you roll me a toughness check?
20.
20. With that final moment, the Rat King crown adorning your head and swallowing you whole. You are enveloped in the hallucination still. While this is happening, though, you have the glimpse realization that you are in a hallucination. You have that recollection. You put your hands out beside you on either side, and you feel the floor of which you're sitting on, the bed of which you're sitting near. You know that this is not real, but it feels very, very, very real in these moments. You're in the in-between, coming out from your hallucinogenic state and being in reality. What does this look like for Ordain on the other side? What is Swarm doing?
Breathing starts to quicken, like they're panting as they're running. And then as the Rat King is imposing on them, here's them whimpering and starting to choke, like they can't get enough air, like they're drowning even though they can breathe. Just like they're having all of the air forced out of their lungs by something unseen, some unseen weight, and just more and more whimpering and starting to scratch at whatever's close by, just trying to grasp onto something to cling to what feels like life.
I guess I would be there. I would have ran over, kicked open the window for more air to come in. Ordain's not very smart, and Ordain will run over and will get onto his knees. And if the swarm looks unstable or looks to him for help, does that happen? If it is okay with the swarm, Ordain would have wrapped them up and said, "I've got you. You're safe. You're not going anywhere. I'm right here." And we'll just be there. But I assume if you're clawing at life, he will probably take some of that as well. And totally fine with it.
Are we coming out of it?
Yeah, you're slowly but surely coming out of it, and if you allow that interaction to happen, that will help you with that 20 to be fully pulled out of it. You will gain 3 hit points from the restorative properties of the cadaver leaf. But yeah, you're in it if you want to continue to be in it, but if you are finding yourself, or if you find the swarm being pulled out of it by these actions, you may take yourself out of it.
I would say they're clawing to life, and as they probably grip onto Ordain's clothing and like almost climb up him, which is a very strange thing for them to be taking the initiative to be physically close with someone, and just as they don't realize that they claw at him with any violence, but once they're wrapped, they would probably get pulled fully from it and just don't let him take me. Please keep me here. I can't go back to the void.
Look at me. I won't let it hurt you. We'll figure it out. Together. All right?
I had red hair.
don't want to be rude, but it's hard to see right now, but you probably pulled it off.
I'm sorry about your face.
Is there's probably just like a claw mark, and they'll just go, I said no biting. Didn't say anything about your claws.
Can we sleep under your bed tonight?
Yeah, just don't scratch a whole lot. Trying to get some rest.
We shall do our very best. Thank you.
And I'll just look to the swarm and say, I'm looking out for all of you. And I will look to the swarm entirely. Every piece. And I will crawl into bed, snuff out the light, and say, all right, get sleep before the rats, but it's a saying in Schleswig, sorry. And I will go to bed.
We'll do a few circles under the bed and just...
Perfect. Wonderful. Does anybody else have any last minute things they would like to do before bed?
Yes. Karma is currently in the corner of their room, and they produce a small book, the oldest thing that they own, that no one living has seen before, and they will flip open a page that they find accurate, and they will read and say, when the war of the beasts bring about the world's end, and the goddess descends from the sky, wings of light and dark spread afar, she will guide us to our bliss everlasting. And I'll pull out the leaf, and I will crumble it and immolate it with my fire and say, flesh creatures are so funny with their feelings. And then I will go to bed.
Perfect. As you immolate these leaves crushed in your hands, in your fire turns purple, just like the leaf is purple. And the smoke is thick. You take a whiff. The smallest scent of sulfur, of rotting corpse, emanates as it disappears just as quick as it was crushed, and Karma finds themselves falling fast asleep. You all arise the next morning, feeling blissfully unaware of the pains and aches from the day before until you start moving your limbs. But I don't know. There's not a long rest for Mork Borg. I should have probably looked this up.
A
Yeah,
night's
rest.
sleep heals D6 HP.
Yeah, so everybody roll a d6 to see how much you've restored your HP.
5!
I was
Yes!
fully healed.
Cool. Perfection. So as we awake, feeling somewhat better, a little bit achy for some, you are free to roam about the cabin. Breakfast once again has been prepared for you, still in the same place at your Aragorn table. If you choose to go and partake, it is there for you. But as everybody wakes up, and we'll smash cut your morning rituals to everybody kind of coming, smash cut to everybody doing their weird, crazy rituals to start the day. We'll
It's just
smash
a
cut.
90s sitcom montage. It's just like...
Yeah, exactly. We'll smash it to everybody coming downstairs to gather before you decide what is to happen next.
Is Karma down there?
Yes.
I will approach Karma. I owe you an apology for yesterday. I was ill-tempered. I'm sorry. Truly.
Ordain, for a weapon, cutting is what you do. You owe me nothing.
I could learn to be a lot more like you.
No. Despite what you may think, if you were me, you wouldn't be you.
Ordain just sits down and is like, what? Red Dank and that just shatters my whole universe, don't it?
And there's Karma's revenge.
Well, yeah, like the cutting words I said very slightly was just met with the like Armageddon. And I'm just like, ow, and sits down and we'll eat.
So, Grifton, I believe. That's where we're headed next.
Sephiloth, the letter said Grift. Or was it Grifton?
Grift.
We're finding penance.
Grift.
Right. Someone named Penance. Not normally something I seek for.
Not something I generally have use for either, but we shall find them.
If you all want to eat, least I can do from my behavior yesterday and my short-sighted martial prowess, I think I'll go ready to cut. Sephiloth, you obviously will come with me.
Clearly.
Sephiloth very slowly stands. Blood dried and flaky, caking, coming off in flakes of his cheek, and then follows.
DM, I
Yes.
have a question and a half.
Sure.
So I've rolled for my new power, which I do at
Yes.
every dawn.
Yes.
I can summon some creatures. Is
Okay.
there a time limit on those creatures?
Depends what creatures, I'll say. I'll give it a time limit. Like greater creatures for a shorter amount of time. Littler creatures will probably last longer.
Gotcha. I can summon zombies and skeletons.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, those will last like half a day. Like 12 hours. If they're not disposed
Alright.
of beforehand.
Okay, then I will, while the cart is being readied, I will requisition a raven to send Her Holiness Queen Britagia, the first of her name, a letter that updates her on how things went. And I will not express concern, because Karma is very pointed about never showing that.
Mm-hmm.
But I will particularly inform her of the person left in charge of said city, and both I won't mention Sephiloth, this is about me. I will express my concern about what Her Holiness thinks we should do with the person in question.
Perfect. Yeah, you inspire this raven to carry on your message to the queen. You're all, those who can write, are equipped with Her Holiness's seal. So you can do the whole 9 yards, give it to the raven. Or actually, I'll say I won't even make you summon anything. The carrion bird is still kind of looming about, so I imagine that like you seek out this carrion bird and give it to him specifically, and then he will take it to Her Holiness. And
Yes.
as this is happening, does anybody else want to do a last minute thing, getting ready prep wise for the day?
For the day, I want to do something before we leave town.
Yeah, before you leave town, I'll give you a moment, but specifically like gearing up, like getting ready for the day.
Swarm is writing in their journal about what they saw last night, like a handful of food and just like eating it with one hand and then scribbling in the journal with the other hand just the details of what they saw and what they remember.
Go ahead.
Before I leave for the cart,
Yeah.
I will just take my bag. I have a bag, and I will just take some of the food, and I'll look over at my companions, and I'll just pack a bit extra into my bag. Kind of put it back over and head for the wagon.
Perfect. And as you and Sephiloth head to the wagon, as soon as you kind of go outside and start rounding the corner to the left of where the stable was, Sephiloth, you actually see as you're moving out towards the right hand, Drindala is actually making her way to the tavern, hopefully to meet you or the party before you all had left. And she kind of stops you and waves you down and has a couple things in her hand. She walks over and quickly goes, "Oh, I'm glad I did not miss you. I thought about what you said yesterday, and I can't be as forthright as I want to, but I can be as forthright as I can be." And she hands you a journal. It is all that I know at the moment. It takes longer to read and explain than you probably have. You need to get going, but read what I say. If you do not believe me, tell the queen, and the queen can deal with me as she wants. But at least this is my truth that I have to impart upon you, to help save you for what I fear that you are walking into. In these. And she hands you like, almost kind of how like lemnis bread, like elven bread is packaged, like with the leaves. It is a soft pack, like a cloth bag, that's packed with some leaves on the outside of it. She says, "Do not open this unless you absolutely need to. They bleed through the bag. They are quite powerful, but these should help you if you get in sort of any altercation going through the Marlfen. It is a difficult terrain for multiple reasons, but it is unavoidable to get to Grift, where I know you need to go. You must go through the motherland, and she will not be very kind with you if you are on our side. Take these, and they will help." And she hands you 4, like, little sacks that are wrapped up all in this, like, leaf and cloth bagging. And it's what you feel, like, the weight of it is powder. It's a powdery substance in each of these bags. But she hands these to you. "Thank you for helping me with what we have going on here. I hope we meet again in just as good, if not better, standing. And I wish you luck on your travels ahead."
I just bow my head to her and place these items into various pockets.
And as you take them, she kind of like bows in reverence and turns and starts walking back to her abode. And as Ordain has already, I imagine by this time, gotten to the stable and is dealing with the stable hands to get your donkey and cart back. Unless anybody else has some last minute things that they would like to do before they leave town.
I would. Once Drindala has entered back into her building, I would like to walk to it, and on the side of it, facing this kind of center of town, I would like to use my chalk, and I would like to write the message, "Loyalty is not a question, it is an expectation," and then seal it with our symbol.
Yes.
Before packing into the cart. And
the whole time, Ordain's just following you and is just like, "If I was more like them, I wouldn't be me." And is just constantly thinking about, like, not paying attention. Like, I imagine Sephiloth writing this and me just having my arm on, like, their lower back as they're bent over writing it, just like, and what do they mean by that?
Sire, they mean if you weren't you, you wouldn't be you.
All right, are you done with your graffiti?
It is not graffiti, sire. It is a promise.
Fuck, I wish I could read. And I just walk for the wagon.
Perfect. And I feel like that is a wonderful little exclamation to leave us with at the end of this session. Holy hell, guys. Wow, look at you all. Doing the damn thing, figuring things out left and right. Playing the game.
Oh, wow. Look at this Mork Borg game. Ow.
All right. So, that concludes our episode 3, Kenopsia, of the Horned Queen Chronicles. We're gonna go around and everyone, you can introduce yourself, give a little spiel about who you are, what you do, and where you do it. We'll start in the same order I started with. So we're gonna start with Riddler, D.
Hello, good evening, my lovely creatures of the dark. My name is D. I am a voice actor, streamer, musician, general chaos bastard on the internet. You should follow me on Twitter at @It'sTheRiddler, where I retweet selfies of people being attractive because I have no shame. I've never heard of the word before. Secondly, you can find me all over the place. I'm doing a lot of things, but most important, I am still the reigning and retaining TTRPG Universal Champion. Let me tell you something. I've got 5 or 6 people I'm doing a session 0 with in a few days that think they're going to take this belt from me, and they're so woefully wrong. So you should stay tuned to my Twitter to see if anybody could take it off of me at WrestleTopia.
We love it. We love it. I can't wait. I'm so excited. We'll move it on over to John. Big Man Play Game. What's up?
Hey, what's up? I'm John. Call me Big Man Play Game. Call me Big Papa. Call me John. I come from Dungeon Hunters with Trevor, and now, not so recently, I guess, Brickk. We stream our main campaign currently. We've done other stuff as far as one-shots and small four-episode streams. Everything that we have done before that we care about and enjoy enough is on our YouTube. Dungeon Hunters D&D, I think. No, it's just Dungeon Hunters on YouTube. Yeah,
YouTube.com/dungeon.
It's great. We have a really tight-knit cast, I guess. We're just all friends. We've known each other for years, and Brickk kind of just fit right into a hole that was needing to be filled. So it's been super fun. We love D&D, and I've come over here to play Mork Borg for Brickk because Brickk is great and Mork Borg is great. So,
Hey, thanks. I appreciate you very, very much. And with that, we'll go right on up to Rachel. What's up?
Hi, I'm Rachel Beauregard. You can find me on Instagram at Manic Pixie Tank Girl. You can find my art at Bad Duck Design. You can also catch me every other Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, and then every other Saturday after that, here on the Initiative Order, playing Vampire the Masquerade, occasionally doing graphics for Mythical Melee, professional actor. Sometimes you can catch me on TV if I'm lucky enough to get that work. And I'm very, very happy to be here. I love all of our creepy, creepy selves, and this is just a blast every time we play.
We love it. We love it. And last but not least, we're going to go on over to Trevor. What's up?
Hi! That's me. I totally blanked just as you came to me. Sorry. I am also from Dungeon Hunters. We have already kind of plugged, but I'll plug our Twitch. On alternate Saturdays, we have a campaign in which I am the Dungeon Master, and it is called the Ember Guard campaign. We just started part 2 coming back with Brickk as a main character coming into the Ember Guard, and is sick as hell. All the characters are super tight, so check us out if that sounds like something that you are interested in. I love playing Mork Borg or Merc Beret, as some people call. I don't know. There's so many different pronunciations. But yeah, I'm just happy to be here. Thank you to the Initiative Order. Thank you to Brickk. And thank you to this wonderful cast of people. I am having a blast.
Wonderful, wonderful. We love to hear it. All the great happenings of our cast going on, and I'm so stoked to experience all of them and to see everybody do their things and to be a part of them when I can be. With that being said, oh, hello, hi, hey, I'm Ray, or with a Brickk with 2Ks everywhere on the interwebs. You can find me at all my socials. They're pretty much all the same because I'm really lucky like that. I am part of Dungeon Hunters, like Trevor and John had said. I play Twilight Cleric. She's really dope and really awesome. If you're interested in seeing her, go check that out when we play on Saturdays. Beyond that, I'm a writer and a streamer. I don't really stream a whole bunch right now because I'm busy as shit, but I do lots of writing and cool things. So if you like the things I write, if you like the things I run and I play, hit me up. We can talk about doing that for you. But any other day and any other time, I'm hanging out with this group here and the other groups I have around the interweb. So if you're interested, just go follow my socials. With that being said, I think we're going to close this terrifying night off with saying thank you and stay creepy, everybody.